for Common Man. Common man, charge the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello.
Time is running out on Dan Cole's round. Let's go to 15. Bob?
Yeah, John Cole has been visibly angry. He's been talking to himself quite a bit. And it doesn't get any easier here on the par 3 15th hole at Minnesota National. This hole is guarded by two bunkers with a big tree in front of the green. Very challenging tee shot. He's opted to hit a 5-iron here. Cole, unreal pants, fluttering in the wind, mumbling to himself, I've got to have this shot.
Hooty-hoo!
Ooh, that's very well struck. Spinning through the air like a J.J. McCarthy pass. It's right on line. Looking good. Oh, my! It's in! I can't believe what I just saw. A hole-in-one for Cole at the 15th, and he's pointing at patrons in the gallery shouting, you doubted me, you doubted me, you doubted me, and now he's embracing his son, Peter. What a moment between father and son here at the 15th at Minnesota National.
You always love that one.
We didn't really embrace.
Who that? Who cares?
That's okay, too. We like to embellish. What we do.
Well, I read the USA Today and I read the New York Times. I read those both every day.
I do too.
And I listen to music. I
do as well.
I mean, it wouldn't do me any good to listen to talk shows.
I don't.
Because what's great about America, everybody has an opinion.
Correct.
You know what I mean? But what's also great about America, you don't have to listen to it. And that's the great part.
That's what makes America great. I totally agree with the late Benjamin.
You know, sometimes when you practice, you'll set up chairs. You know, and you run through chairs just to show zones and stuff. The Viking defense looks like it's chairs.
I literally tweeted the same picture 3 times regarding chairs on the Vikings-Lions game. Once for the Vikings and twice for the Kitties.
I'm a fraud.
Yes. Well, everything that's been said the last couple of minutes is all true.
He's the clown from Brown.
That's true as well.
He's the 4th in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
Like to call it. It's, the Grum is in 5, actually. 3 to 5 sounds like more than 4, 2, 1. Greetings, good afternoon, and ack. Act you and yours. Your password for tomfoolery and skullduggery. Boise. That ack will also gain you admittance into a meeting of the Loyal Order of Water Buffalo. Ooh la la. I'm a radio dinosaur. This is my La Brea tar pit, this being KFAN. Someday archaeologists and paleontologists will be sifting through the rubble that will be 1600 Utica Avenue South. They'll stumble across my cold, dead, fossilized lips attached to not a Neumann BCM 104. It's like an Electrolux 27 or something. And they will say, egad, it's a social commentator with an archaic communication device. It promises to be a fast-paced, action-packed, controversial Common Man program as always. Hump Day, head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings will address the assembled media. A little later this hour, we'll have it for you. It's an entirety. No rock talk today, which means no rock rank. No! Rock rank. Brian Oak has some other business to attend to. He will be with us next Wednesday. So the head coach during the noon hour, Rosen at 2. Hump Day, Vikings, after dispatching the Motor City Kitties, now have the Baltimore Ravens in their sights. Minnesota Timberwolves pay a visit to New York, and they'll visit with an old friend or compete with an old friend, Bodega Cat. You'll hear that game, I think, on this radio station. The Wild and a Woolly one. Wow. With 0.2 seconds to go, a game that was right there, they let it get away, and then a very controversial ruling with a net torn from its moorings, but the Wild get the advantage there. Minnesota Golden Gopher men's basketball team, they're 1-0. The Minnesota Golden Gopher men's football team, I can guarantee you one thing, they will not lose this week. With all of those subjects, with all of those topics available, Common never can decide where to start, so let's spin the wheel of topics. And yes, people do care. For the handful of you that don't care, well, you're in the minority, the vast minority. People care.
Commons. Golf.
Yes, okay, sure, why not?
What did you shoot today?
A 78.
Where'd we play?
Presswick had Wedgwood in Woodbury.
Where'd you hit it on? One?
Right up the gut. It was a beautiful drive right
How
up
far
the
from the
middle.
green?
I had what did I hit into the green? Hit an 8-iron.
Second shot?
It was solid. It was good.
Right or left?
It went straight at it.
Then what?
About 20 feet. Then I left the putt like 4 feet short, but I made the 4
Incredible.
footer. I hit a terrific drive on 2, but I fanned my approach shot out right. It was a front middle pin, in the front but in the middle, and I hit a wonderful wedge to 2 feet. Then the next hole, the par 3, I missed the green right. I flared it, and I didn't hit a very good wedge. I kind of gave up on it a little bit, a little yippy, and I missed the putt there. It just creased the lip, so I'm 1 over through 3. And then on 5, same thing. I wrong club selection. I thought I can get there with a 9, and I did get there, but I just barely got on the green. It was a back middle pin, and I left that putt about 4 feet short from 30 feet, but I made that one. And then I got into a routine where I just couldn't. You know how I told you I putt better than 80% of the tour pros out there? It wasn't that I was putting poorly. I just wasn't making anything. I left a birdie putt on 6, 2 inches from going in. My par putt from 15 feet on 7. I'm not hitting it close enough to the hole. I get that. It hits the lip at about 530 and ends up at 130. I don't know how it doesn't go in. I hit a beautiful, this was a great decision on my part. Number 8, dead into the wind. I hit a good drive. I got 109 to a front pin. I decided instead of trying to hit like some kind of a wedge or 9, I do a peel cut 8-iron, and I just punch at it to hit that little flighted shot. It hits right in front of the green, pops up to like 3 feet. I got 3.5 feet downhill. My knees are knocking, and it does the old where an inch from the hole, it's sitting at 5 o'clock. When it comes to rest, it's sitting at 7 o'clock. It cut right in front of the hole. I needed to give it just an teensy bit more. 39 on the front, then I go par, bogey, birdie. I finally make a birdie. Hit it into 4 feet, make it. Then I go bogey on 13, 14. Really nice par at 15 after I hook my tee shot over by the pine trees. The pine tree's on the left, and there's one like elm tree or ash tree, whatever it is. Right. I decided to say I'm gonna take a chance here. I'm gonna try to hit is our kicker's name Will Reichard?
Yes.
I tried to do a Will Reichard. I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna take the risk, and I'm gonna hit. Instead of just punching out, I'm gonna try to hit it between these 2 trees, and I hit a perfect shot. Got up and down. Here's the best part of the round, Tenneby. It was the worst of times and the best of times. Dead into the wind, perfect drive on 16, the par 5. Perfect hybrid. I got 137 into the wind. I say, I'm going to hit a 7-iron here. I'm ready to hit it, and what do? I revert to my old swing. I come over the top too quick, and I hook it right into the water. Now, I'm 5 over. I hook it into the water, and instead of panicking or getting bent out of shape like I normally do, reached into my bag, took a didn't go up to where it went in. I didn't want to, because you go down there, and now you got to drop it in the rough, and you got a little side hill, So I just drop a ball, hit the same exact club, hit it into 1.5 feet, just stuffed it in there and saved bogey. And then par 17, 18, I had to hit a 35-yard pitch shot from the right side of the green and hit it to about 1.5 feet. Today was one of those rounds where I stayed focused. I enjoyed the process. It's why I play golf. Now, a 78 is not an experience that's unlike that of a PGA Tour pro, But I felt like I played very well, and I was very happy with it. Do you have any other questions for me about my round?
I think you covered it basically every single shot. Yeah,
that was pretty thorough. Usually I don't get that thorough, but we got 3 hours and Oaks out. So what am I going to do? No! I had to kill extra time. I want to talk about the Wild game. I saw it all happen. You know why?
Really?
Well, Deuce likes hockey. And so he said, Wild are playing. I go, I know.
And you went,
I said, Jeegans, though. He goes, yeah, but we watch Jeegans all the time, and I wouldn't mind watching a little hockey. So I said, okay, now I'm dozing in and out. But I saw, this like, was it 0.2 or 0.3 and we give up a goal?
0.3, yeah.
It's just so typical Minnesota sports, right? Then we get the break, though, on the and that's the right ruling, right? It was proper. Would Wild fans have been mad if the skate was on the other foot?
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. I'm sure Predator fans think it's a terrible call, and Wild fans think it's a great call.
The goaltender was responsible for knocking the net off its moorings, and the official determined that had the net not been knocked out off its moorings, the puck was headed into the net, so we got to give him a goal. And you have to do that, even though you don't know if the goalie would have stood on his head and saved it, because a goalie could just do that all the time. Then they would just intentionally be kicking it off. Anytime there was a scrum in front, you would just immediately back into the net, knock it off, play stops.
We're trying to dissuade them from intentionally knocking off the net.
Yeah. And so, crazy game. And it was a game I won't put it in the same category as the Vikings win over the Lions. The Vikings needed that win. There's no way of saying so much about that. The Wild could have lost last night. There's still a lot of hockey in front of them, but the homestand has been awful, right?
And the way in which they would have lost it, would have been that's psychologically beating.
That's even more important. That's a very good point, because that was a game that was right there to be had, and then in point 3. They get the tying goal, and then if you would have lost in OT, that would have been devastating, I think might be the proper word. But nevertheless, we got plenty to get to. Peek at the purple on the other side of the break. The head coach, sometime this hour, we're expecting, right, Teneby?
Hoping 12:45,
12:45.
Which means 12:55.
Well, there's that. And plenty more to get to, including Mark Rosen. But right now, Teneby has a keyword for us. It's our national cash contest. What you got?
Yeah, the fan and 2 men on a junk truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword win at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. The keyword is win. Enter now at KFAN.com. Headed to the Vikings-Ravens game this Sunday. We'll come find our street team on the plaza outside of U.S. Bank Stadium and ask us how you can enter for your shot at Papa Murphy's game day meal deals for a year. Check out KFAN.com keyword calendar for all the details.
What's the name of the place again? The Plaza at U.S. Bank Stadium.
Yeah.
What time will that be?
Doesn't give an exact time, but if you're going to the Vikings-Ravens game, so I'd say noon or before noon.
Maybe between 10 and noon. Before we dive into Peek at the Purple, I need to clear something out. Clear something up. I've had not one, not two, but 3 text messengers basically nominate me for a preposterous statement. I'll read all 3. First one is from, hold on. If I don't have my little sounder, then it just doesn't feel right. I gotta shrink. Oh gosh, Dan, come on, you're better than this. Okay, I'm gonna hit the done. Sorry about that. First one is from Lake Wobegon guy. Lake Wobegon baseball guy says, I nominate Common for a preposterous statement. I wasn't putting poorly. They just didn't go in. And then he says, missing us.
I always love that one.
Here's another. PST nominee, Common at 12:08, 11:525. I wasn't putting poorly. The balls just weren't going in. That's just as bad as Flex saying that if you take away 2 of the other team's touchdowns, then it was a really close game. That's signed some Anoka guy. And then he's turned on me, and I never thought he would. Larry Mondello guy nominates me for a PST. It says, PST nomination for Common. I'm putting well. I'm just not making anything. My guess is some Anoka guy, Lake Wobegon baseball guy, and Larry Mondello guy I've never picked up a golf club
Correct.
For, because they don't understand. You can be putting well and things don't go in. There's a difference between putting well and putting poorly. When you're just missing everything left. You're just pulling the ball left. You're hitting it too far. You're hitting it. You have no idea. Your putter could just as well be a pitchfork. You have no control over it. There are other times where you're hitting brilliant putts. You got 45 feet with a big left to right break, and you bring it in, and it just misses going in.
That's a good putt.
It's a really good putt.
Yeah.
But in golf, really good sometimes doesn't equate to going in the hole. And if you don't play golf, you don't understand. They don't expect you to. So the PST committee will not be adding that to any, because Tennessee plays golf. Tennessee's had an experience that's not unlike that of a PGA Tour pro. And Tennessee, you can attest to this, right? That you can be putting really well and nothing goes in.
I can definitely attest to nothing going in. That part I can.
Hold on, let me give you the old.
Yeah, anyone who's played golf understands the concept, right?
Yes.
I mean, I've told you before how many times we've talked about a Wild game. Like, well, the Wild played well, they just didn't score any goals, right? Like, there's other factors, there's other variables. You can be dominating the play, you can be tilting the ice, and the goalie just happens to be standing on his head that day,
That's
right?
correct. That is absolutely correct. So let's stop with the nonsense and leave radio and golfing to the professionals. And 80% of the time, or most of the time, I putt better than 80% of PGA Tour players. Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. The holidays are coming. The holidays are coming. Don't let overloaded outlets or old wiring ruin the fun. From GFCIs to lighting installs, Affordable Electric keeps your home bright and safe all season long. Call before the first snow, and they'll make sure your holidays shine. Affordable Electric, Minnesota's trusted electricians. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. And remember, Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable, affordable, something like that. Mark Craig, NFL writer, Fish Wrap Factory West Side, wrote a piece. It appeared on my handheld computer, which doubles as a communication device, at 6 p.m. sharp last night. Headline: How will the Vikings prepare for Lamar Jackson on Sunday? It says, can Kevin O'Connell and Minnesota avoid becoming another victim in Jackson's 24-3 run against NFC teams who aren't ready for the greatest athlete to play QB in NFL history? Couple of things there. I don't know how you do prepare for Lamar Jackson. I know they do scout teams for everything.
Yep.
But it's really difficult to prepare for athletes that really have. There's not many equals.
There's no comparisons.
Yeah, there's nobody in the league that you would go, well, that guy's a lot like Lamar Jackson. I mean, there are guys that are good at moving around in the pocket, can run a little bit. Who's your guy with the Cardinals? But
Kyler Murray. He's kind of getting soft benched right now, by the way.
But he's not Lamar Jackson, no matter how good he.
Nobody is.
Donovan McNabb could move around. Fran Tarkenton could move around a little bit. But guess what? None of those guys are Lamar Jackson. So it is difficult to do. I didn't realize, though, that record, Lamar Jackson against NFC teams 24-3. Why would that be? I mean, I know that. I don't know. Do you play a heavy AFC? I mean, I know you play 6 games against teams in your own division. So 6 of your 17 are automatically AFC games. And then there's always going to be a handful of others. Is it because, there's the schedules just aren't balanced? AFC teams are going to play more AFC teams than they are NFC teams and vice versa. And Jackson's just so good. He's so good at what he does, and Baltimore's been so good for a number of years that it's difficult for NFC or AFC teams to handle his style of football.
I think it's probably just mostly a scheduling thing. One, Lamar's always, I think historically the AFC North has been a pretty good division.
Yes.
Right? Pittsburgh's been pretty good throughout his run there. The Bengals and Joe Burrow have been good throughout his run there. So just your division games are, more challenging than most. The second part would be they are always one of the top teams in the AFC. So when you are playing other AFC games, how many of their non-division games have been against the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, sure.
Over his stretch, right? Whereas in the NFC, you're never playing, the division winners necessarily. You're just playing one entire division, and there's, you play the NFC South. There's a lot of cupcakes in the NFC South.
Sure.
So I'm guessing partially it's schedule related, but there might be something to. We've not seen this guy play, and you don't really know what you're going up against until you play against him.
How many years has Jackson been in the league now? It's funny when guys burst onto the scene, I always kind of lose track of time, and I always think, he's been in the league about 4 or 5 years. Hell, he's probably 10 years now, isn't he?
I was going to guess like a decade. 2018 he started, so this is year 8.
So year 8. So that seems about right, I guess. But does that ever happen to you sometimes when you think about players and you realize they've been around way longer than you thought they have? In his 8-year career, Teneby, these are the numbers that Mark Craig has. Jackson has 6,353 career rushing yards.
Yeah.
63-53. Over 8 years, you do the math. 8 goes into 63 how many times? 7?
Well, he's only got 180 this year because he's been hurt.
Yes.
So, and that's going into it. So it's basically 7 years and 5 games.
Yeah. So how many? Can you do the math for me? How many yards a season is that? That's 700 yards.
A little under 800 a year, but like I said, this year's not complete.
Think about it. 800 for a running back. I mean, that's not great, but that's what a lot of running backs get nowadays, right? You don't run as much, or you're sharing the backfield with somebody. He has a 6.1 yard average per carry, and you think the tush push is successful. How about him? His average, now it doesn't happen every time, that's why it's an average, but 6.1 yards and then 34 tutties. Plus, Craig points out, he sits atop the league's career marks for passer rating, 103.5, and average yards per attempt at 8.31. He can do it all. And if you remember, early in his career, he wasn't considered much of a thrower, right? It was mostly, he scatters the ball around. He's either brilliant or brutal when he throws, but he sure can run. Now he can do both. He's developed into
yes.
And he's won 2 MVPs. And oftentimes when people, and I'm included in this, when they start talking about the best quarterbacks in the league, sometimes I don't want to call him an afterthought, but you always go, well, Mahomes and Allen, and then all of a sudden you go, oh yeah, that's right, Lamar Jackson. But the Vikings,
he needs to do it in the playoffs.
Well, that's I think you've nailed it. I think you've nailed it. And so. The Vikings certainly have their hands full. And we talk about it's not who you play, it's when you play them. Would have been nice to have the Ravens on the schedule about 3 weeks ago, right? When they were struggling.
Yep.
Now they got their mojo back, at least against the Fish, and the Fish aren't very good, but I would expect Baltimore's feeling their oats right now. Should be a terrific game. Should be. We don't know, but it should be a terrific game. We'll see if McCarthy can match Allen. I don't know if Jackson. I don't know if he can, and I don't know if he needs to. I think the Vikings defense really needs to step up again. We'll take a break, by the way. Peek at the Purple brought to you by Affordable Electric. For all of your electrical needs, affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. And remember, Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. A little Just That Lot coming up on the other side of the break. Common Man program by the Fan.
Want to chime into what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? We'll make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Brian text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Call 1314 pass Common Man program. Real quick segment here. We want to break a little early. Head coach expected to address the media live from the New Winter Park, the TCO Performance Center at 12:45, give or take a couple of minutes. One email I wanted to get to that I had tucked away, Teneby, and I just stumbled upon it again. And it comes from, that's the wrong one. It's not, we want the email. It's not breaking news. It says, subject line, Common changes lives. It says, Common, I was sitting on the sofa about to doze to the Chiefs-Jaguars game. This was a couple weeks ago. And like I say, I tucked this away. And Johnny Munt caught a pass. I immediately sat up and shouted, if you got to throw it to Munt, you may as well punt. My wife didn't even look up and said, "Common man?" I then watched the rest of the game with my eye on Munt and ended up enjoying a good football game because of you. You're changing lives, making people's lives better. Tell the coroner's office to give the common man the raise he so richly deserves. Keep up the good. Keep being at your best when your best is required. Signed, Custom Kitchen Guy. Custom Kitchen Delivery, yays. And that's what we do, Tenement. We give our best when our best is required. That's an O'Connell thing, isn't it? Or is that a Fleck thing?
I think it's a Fleck thing. I don't remember.
I think it's
such a cliched coaching thing that it could come from any of them.
I kind of like it.
They all say the same cliches over and over again.
I kind of like it, though. Our best when our best is required. And then one other text. We were talking, if you remember, we dedicated an entire segment. It was even 2 segments when after the Gophers won a game that they probably should have lost to Michigan State, I sent out what I thought was an innocuous tweet where I said a win's a win, but I don't think we need to give PJ a contract extension. Just kind of doing the cheap shot because he's gotten a number of contract extensions over the years. Anytime a coaching vacancy comes up, his name pops to the top of the list, and Coyle feels like I better give him more money and more years to get him to stay, right? And then a bunch of Gopher backers attacked me viciously and vociferously. But this is actually an email. Sorry. This emailer rallied to my defense and says, "Common, I'm going to increase the IQ of the Rube recommendations on why U of M should not extend PJ's contract. There isn't much recruiting anymore in Power 5 football. It comes down to money. And what is the recruit's nil money deal? That's why Saban retired. If the U of M administration refuses to invest in the nil player salary budget, then hire the best non-Power 5 coach and pay them basement salary and put the rest in the player fund. That coach will be hired away, then just go get another young coach. If the nil player salaries remain consistent and relative, so will the annual record. It doesn't matter who the coach is." And it might be a bit more complicated than that, but I think nil does really muddy the waters. But, I guess nil can be advantageous if you have, everybody is it like a $21 million pool that every university can use to pay players? Probably takes more than that to have the very best players. If you're going to load your team up like the Alabamas do and the Ohio State universities and Oregons and all those Power 5 schools that are loaded with blue chip recruits. But you have to find a way to generate nil money. And I think that is the biggest thing. Coaching does make a difference, but I think he's right. I don't think it makes as much a difference anymore now because recruiting's not as big. And that is the main reason why Saban said, "I'm out." We'll break. We'll come back when we do the head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings with his midweek weekly news conference. That's next here on the Common Man program on the Fan.